So today we are gonna go into what I have come to call womb breathing, which has been one of my two go-to practices as I have moved deeper into womb healing and into feeling my yoni, my sexual organs. I have come to notice that there's often patterns of holding tension in my yoni and in my womb space, like tucking in the stomach or in the pelvic floor. There are different areas where I've noticed that I'm very often holding tension. So I don't know about you, if any of you can relate to this. Or you might not even have become aware of it yet, and possibly from today on, you may start noticing that there are areas where you tend to hold tension. In the opening of the vagina is one place that often we tense up, we protect. It can be the perineum, which is right behind the opening of the vagina, so it's kind of in between the opening of the vagina, the yoni, and the anus. So there is also a place where often tension is being held. And then also in the anus we may hold. And this tension, I have come to notice in myself that it's a defense mechanism. So when I become stressed, when I become stressed, I often hold tension in my shoulders and in my neck. That is also held in my yoni, in areas of my yoni and in my womb. So the womb breathing is one of the purposes, is to release, to start to reprogram some of those tensions of stress that we are holding. Because if we look at tension in a place in our body, what is it that actually happens? What happens is that when we tense up, there's no energetic flow in that area. It's just stuck, and often it's a freeze mechanism, a freeze response in our body. So what happens to our yoni, our sexual organs, when we are tensing and freezing? What happens to the energy? It often gets stuck and we can't feel it anymore, or we may feel pain. So we really want to learn to, first of all, sensitize our yoni to feeling, so that we are able to notice and feel when we are tensed. So we want to learn to become more aware and sensitive in the area. And then we want then to start to work with the energies. So when we notice that there's tension there, we can actually breathe into that tension, so that it can open up, so that the space can expand and open from being like this. When we breathe into it, it can expand and open, and the energy starts to flow. It starts to free itself. And the beauty of that energy that is hidden, that is waiting dormant in our yoni, in our womb space, is that as it releases, it can release in the form of pleasure, in the form of awakening up to the beautiful energies that is dormant. It is waiting to be awakened. So we will soon start, and before to start, I wanted to give you two imaginations, pictures of how you can start to journey with your womb and with your yoni to breathe. Because in the beginning, you might not feel it. There might be, I remember with myself, I felt a little bit frustrated because I couldn't really feel when I tried to breathe into my pelvic floor. I couldn't feel anything. And that is quite normal in the beginning, that we can't feel, and we can't direct the breath all the way down. And the beauty is that we have the power of imagination. I can't stop talking about imagination, because it is so powerful to use imagination in our lives, and especially for me in my journey of feminine awakening, imagination has been there as one of my main tools to awaken, both physically and emotionally. So when you cannot feel the breath, you can go down and you can imagine how you are breathing down there. And one image that I want to... Oh, video is not working. Is there anyone else that is having problems with my video? Let's see. I'll keep on talking, and please let me know if the video is not working. I will maybe restart or something. So the picture that I want to leave you with before we start the practice is, I don't know if you have seen... Okay, thanks, Christiana. I don't know if you have seen pictures of... I think it's the aura of a person, where you can see that there's a beautiful layer around a person's body. I think often it's pictured as blue. And I have seen some movies in craniosacral therapy when we talk about the breath of life, and how the energetic field of the body, it's constantly expanding, it's breathing in a way, and then it's descending, expanding and descending. And we can imagine that this is happening also in our womb space. So we can imagine how the womb space, as we inhale, it is expanding into a huge size. The energetic field is expanding around the womb and the yoni. And then as you exhale, it descends. It expands and it descends. So I hope you are with me when I'm saying that. I can see your messages, so just write me if you have any questions about it. So just to leave you with this impression of expansion on the inhale, and that it's a huge movement, and then a softening, a descending when we come back to the exhale. So that's picture number one. And feeling, so we come to the feeling body, is if you place your hands just underneath your breasts, and I am sure you have done this before, and just close your eyes and bring your awareness into the ribs where your hands are holding. And feel that as you inhale and the diaphragm lifts, the ribs are expanding. And you can feel how the fingers are moving away from each other, the hands are moving away from each other. And as you exhale, the ribs descend back down and the hands are descending, coming together. Do that a few times. Expanding, opening up on the inhale, descending on the exhale. And let us move now into our practice, and I invite you to lie down. I think that's the best way to feel deeply. So just find a comfortable position, and you may keep your legs a little bit wide if that's comfortable for you. So it's in an open position, and that can be, you could even place your feet down. I don't know if you can see my feet, but you can just place your feet down on the ground so that the knees are bent, and keeping the knees quite open if that's comfortable. Or just keep them straight, stretched out, and in an open position so that you can really breathe into, especially into your pelvic floor, into the outer parts of your yoni. And I know that you can't see my hands now, but you don't need to, because I'm not gonna do anything with my hands. This is just a journey of breathing. So as you land into your body, if it feels comfortable, close your eyes and just allow your body to sink into the ground. We say that in the feminine traditions, we say that the back of the body is the feminine. So allow your feminine side to root into the ground. You may imagine that on the inhale, you are growing roots from the back of your body into the ground. And on the exhale, your body softens even more. So the exhale, it signals to your body to release, to soften, to move into parasympathetic activation of your nervous system. Rest and digest. So let us just spend a few breaths noticing the breathing. Noticing that as you become aware of the breath, it often has the tendency to deepen a little. And if you have a difficult time feeling the breath in your body, you may use your hands as support, and we can start again by placing the hands just underneath our breasts, by the ribs. And allow yourself to notice how your body is moving with the breath. The ribs are expanding. The energy of the body is expanding and opening up on the inhale. And on the exhale, your whole body softens. And descend your hands down towards your womb space, so the lower belly. And start now to lead the breath all the way down into the belly. And you can notice how there's the similar movement happening in your hands more subtly, that as you inhale, the hands are lifting and your womb space, your lower belly, is opening, expanding. And with your intention, you also send the message to your womb that on the exhale, it's allowed to soften, to release. You may notice in the beginning that you start to do womb breathing that there are some, it can feel difficult, it can feel a little bit restricted in the muscles, some discomfort. And this will gradually release as you keep doing the womb breathing. The muscles will be reprogrammed and more elastic. So stay with the breath, and you may release your hands down if you want to. And also you can go into a little softer breathing if it feels quite intense. Coming back to your imagination, imagining that on the inhale you are expanding the womb space, you're opening it up, opening up the tension, the pain, filling it with loving breath, loving energy. And if you cannot feel the breath happening, taking place in your womb, you imagine, you have a picture of a womb in your head, and you imagine the expansion, the opening up, and the release, the sigh on the exhale. Move this breath, this awareness, down into your pelvic floor. Your pelvic floor contains the vulva, so the labia, the clitoris, the opening of the urinary tract, the opening of your yoni, your vagina, and the perineum. Let's stay with that for now. And this is the most potent part to breathe into. And if you cannot feel, you imagine your pelvic floor expanding on the inhale. You are using the muscles connected to the outer parts of your pelvic floor, expanding on the inhale. On the exhale, the floor of your pelvis sighs. Finally, it is allowed to release, to surrender. Imagine how the breath becomes an energetic dance in this part of your yoni. The dance between expansion, opening up to possibility, releasing the held tension, and the dance of descending, surrendering, softening. The sensation of expansion and release can be quite subtle, sometimes barely noticeable. Or you may notice a rush of energy, of sexual awakening energy. And now you move your attention to the back of your sacred organs, to the opening of your anus, the tailbone, the sacrum, the buttocks, breathing into the back. You might have a beautiful image of your sacrum like a butterfly flying, moving its wings with the inhale and the exhale. And it's giving your tailbone the important mobility to move. Filling it up with presence, with awareness, with breath as you inhale. Allowing the breath to release, the energy to soften, the muscles soften on the exhale. this awareness to your whole pelvic bowl, to the whole sacred landscape of your womb, your yoni, your anus, every bone, every muscle in your pelvis, the skin, the energies of your pelvis. It's breathing and it's opening up the energy on the inhale and then gently descending on the exhale. And just like if you were watching a bird's wings in slow motion or a butterfly gently moving its wings, opening, expanding, descending and softening. And then at the end you come into the deeper layers of your pelvis, all the way into the inner parts, the internal parts, the walls of the vagina, moving up the walls of the vagina as it expands and opens, all the way to the cervix, the gateway into your inner sanctum. She's so alive, vibrating with aliveness as you breathe into her. Energetically opening your cervix, expanding and softening, expanding and softening. And as you come to the end, imagine how this energy moves into your whole body, flooding your system with aliveness, with the sacred energy of your womb and your yoni, expanding your body on the inhale, filling it with goodness, with healing. Allowing it to release deeper on the exhale. Feel it, imagine it. And just gently start to come back to yourself, to the space, gently touching your fingers together, moving your toes. And you may end the practice with a loving greeting, an honoring of your heart and your womb, placing one hand by the heart, one hand by the womb, and in your own personal words, telling your gratitude to your most sacred feminine centers. And also a little prayer for your body, an invitation, asking her to, when she feels safe, to open up to you, to reveal her glory, her power, her pleasure in ways you would never imagine would be possible. You may ask her to open up. And in your own time, stay for as long as you want, resting with yourself. And I would love if you want to leave a comment on how you experience this practice. And I hope to see you soon. I'm sending you all so much love.